All right, let's get it. Knicks-Pacers tonight. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, we're set. Knicks-Pacers tonight. Big game. Big game for the Knicks. This is a huge get-right opportunity for the Knicks. Going up against the Pacers team now, 7-3 in their last 10. Now 4th in the Eastern Conference. A team that's, listen, midway through, I'd say, the first half of the season, you thought they had zero chance, but you know what this team has. You know the talent level. You know they've got the Grizzly veterans, the Pascal Siakams of the world, who produce and who are really good basketball players. This team was never going to go away quietly. This isn't like the Sixers. The Sixers, with all the injuries, all the BS, the terrible contract they gave Paul George, you know that they were going to fall off, and it doesn't look like they're going to get back. The Pacers are a different team. Halliburton started off the season playing, extremely poor. One of the worst, and probably, I'd say, one of the biggest disappointments of the year, Tyrese Halliburton was. And look, he's completely turned it around. As I said, Pacers, 7-3 in their last 10. Knicks are also 7-3 in their last 10, but coming off probably the most deflating loss of the season. The first game of the year against Boston, not that expectations weren't high, but you kind of had the thought of all right, this is the first time this iteration of the team is playing together. So there's a chance they're going to go out and look rusty. They're not going to look good. The Knicks, what was the excuse against Boston the other night? What was the excuse? To get absolutely blown out and trampled on your home court. There was none. So the Knicks have an opportunity to get right with this game against Indiana. Knicks and Indiana have faced twice this year. The Knicks won once. Pacers won the other time. The home team has won both games. This game is in Indiana. So hopefully that trend doesn't continue here. The Pacers, again, as I said, one of the hottest teams in the league. You know what the Pacers bring, the high-paced, high-intensity offense, led by Tyrese Halliburton, one of the most talented players in the NBA. But again, this not to say that this is like a must-win, but it kind of is. It kind of is. Because you got a lot of people doubting this Knicks team. Jalen Brunson is playing the best basketball of his season. I'm not saying career. Last year, the playoffs, obviously, was that. But Jalen Brunson has been otherworldly for this team. 28 points in 4 of the last 5 games. He's picked up the slack for Cat. Cat had a really good game on paper against the Celtics, but everyone who watches this team on a consistent basis knows that since that injury that he suffered on I believe January 15th against the Pistons, the finger injury, he has not been the same player. He's not shooting it well from deep. He doesn't look as confident on the offensive end. Teams still have to respect him out of the three-point arc because he can hit threes. The finger injury is definitely impacting him, but you still trust him to shoot at least 40% from 3 when he actually does, even though he has been lately. But you have to respect it. That's obviously a huge factor in any game the Knicks will play because of the spacing. But Brunson has been unbelievable. OG Anunoby, let me check my phone, but the last I checked about 10 minutes ago, game time decision tonight, according to Top Thibodeau. Oh, there we go. And he's out. Precious Achiuwa is starting in place of OG Anunoby. No reason to rush him back. No reason. I would have went on a long rant if I heard OG Anunoby was playing in this game. What's the point in playing the guy until after the All-Star break? Let him get his rest. Yes, this was an injury. This is a foot sprain. This is enough to keep anyone out. Maybe you would have played in the playoffs. Maybe not. The fact of the matter is, this guy has busted his ass for the Knicks all year long. Up until the point he was hurt, he had not missed a game all year. So this is much needed rest for OG. Yeah, it's an injury, okay? Yeah, he's injured. He needed a little break. He needed a little breather, and he's getting that right now. There's no reason to play him until after the All-Star break. Let him get his full 2.5, 3 weeks, and then bring him back, and he'll be fully rested, and he'll be ready to go. Maybe you get Mitchell Robinson back at the same time, too. All signs, point to Mitchell Robinson coming back in the coming weeks. He's back practicing, taking contact. It's huge developments for this Knicks team. Listen. I'm so excited to get Mitchell Robinson back, and there's no guarantee that he is going to be the player that he was before this ankle injury. As I discussed with Brian Geltzeiler on my YouTube channel, this is a different injury It's the different ankle. He had suffered the injury on that one ankle a few years ago. And then against Philly, he suffered it on the other ankle, which hasn't really been put out there. But Mitchell Robinson now has 2 bad ankles, not just 1, 2. It's concerning. 100% it's concerning. But again, if you can get him back at 85, 90% of what he used to be, you still have one of the top defensive bigs in the league. All right, can you imagine him against like Boston in a series where, I mean, did you see how bad Karl-Anthony Towns was switching the pick and roll? I mean, how many easy, wide open layups or dunks did Tatum, Brown, any one of those guys get at the rim? Because Karl-Anthony Towns has no idea what he's doing in the pick and roll. You know who's one of the best defenders of the pick and roll in the NBA? Mitchell Robinson. I'm interested to see how that lineup will look, the two of them together. Hopefully they will play together. You've heard Karl-Anthony Towns say it in the past. And you obviously know, based on what we saw in Minnesota with Rudy Gobert at the 5 and Karl-Anthony Towns at the 4, that it can work. That he's prepared for that. You know, when the Timberwolves went out and traded an exorbitant amount of picks for Rudy Gobert, they did that with the consensus knowledge that Karl-Anthony Towns would thrive as the 4, that they'd still be able to space the floor and do whatever they need. And when they want to go Karl-Anthony Towns at the 5, they can. You will have so many more options in the lineup when Mitchell Robinson comes back. OG Anunoby will not have to continue to play out of position at the 4. Yes, he has done an unbelievable job with his length and his defensive prowess at defending some pretty good power forwards in the NBA. Pascal Siakam being one of them. That's going to be something to watch today. You're going to have to start Precious Achiuwa. They are starting Precious Achiuwa. 3rd straight game, I believe now. Starting Precious, 4th game in a row. Starting Precious Achiuwa. Well, I honestly thought that it could have been smart to start Deuce McBride. I guess you couldn't go wrong with either one. Tonight, you got to start Precious Achiuwa because of that matchup. Because he's got to face off against Pascal Siakam. Pacers are missing Miles Turner. He's sidelined through the All-Star break. You need a good game out of Precious Achiuwa. You do. You need him to play pretty solid defensively. But again, if you're just joining now, I'm Bryce Gelman doing a little pregame discussion. The Knicks-Pacers have faced off twice earlier on this season. Knicks one of those matchups. I believe if you remember, the first time these two teams faced off, it was in November. No, it might have been. I think it was October. It was like late October, early November. And the Knicks had the lead going into the 4th quarter and completely choked the game away. They lost that one. The Knicks won the other one when they absolutely blew out the Pacers at the Garden. And hopefully, they're looking to get something like this tonight. The Knicks are still the second best team in terms of offensive rating in the NBA at 120.8. Defensive efficiency is not good. It's still not good. 17th in the NBA. The interesting dichotomy of this game is going to be pace. Because as you may know, and it's slightly down from what it was last year, the Pacers were playing with reckless abandon last year. By far, the top team in terms of pace. This year, they're 9th. So a little bit of a drop-off. Knicks are, if you've been watching any of these games, they play one of the slowest brands of basketball, 25th in the NBA in pace. Knicks have a net rating of 6.1. Pacers of 0.6. That 0.6 rating is largely due to the fact of how poor they started the season, how bad they played. And look at the Pacers now. As I said earlier, 7-10 or 7-3 in their last 10 games. Knicks as well, 7-3 in their last 10 games. Now the Pacers are 4th in the Eastern Conference. They're still far off from the Knicks at 3, far off from the Celtics at 2, or obviously far off from the Cavs at 1. But there's been a complete switch in terms of those 4 and 5 teams, one of them being the Bucks and the other one being the Pacers. This is not going to be an easy matchup whatsoever for the Knicks tonight. And again, I keep repeating it. It bears repeating. The Knicks need this game. I mean, they were embarrassed on a national stage on Saturday night against the Celtics at home. Now, how pathetic that game was. Mikal Bridges hits a three to cut it to a 3-point game, 67-64. What the hell happened after that? What the hell happened? And so the Knicks, have an opportunity tonight against the Pacers. And might I add, a must-win game. Absolutely must win. I think the Knicks are favored by 3.5. The last I checked, Knicks are favored by 3.5. Let's check here. Yeah, 2.5. Knicks are favored by. Pretty high over/under. Like, it's gonna be a high-scoring game. It's gonna be high scoring. Are you going to need to be carried by Jalen Brunson again? Are you is that going to be the case again? Because how sustainable is that? Brunson scored 28 or more in 4 of his last 5 games. He has played the best basketball that we've seen him play all year long over the stretch. 36 against the Celtics. He was the only good player against the Celtics. They lost by 27. 27. You can't just rely on Jalen Brunson against the really good teams in the NBA. Sure, he might be able to carry you to a win against the Raptors like we saw last week. He might be able to carry you to a win against the Wizards. Not a team like the Pacers. Especially not a team like the Celtics. Will Karl-Anthony Towns figure it out? Will he figure it out? 99 against the Celtics. Awful. Terrible. Even worse on the defensive end. Even worse. Again, as I said earlier, there have been some really solid, points and numbers games for Karl-Anthony Towns recently. 27 against the Raptors with 20 rebounds. If you watch that game, was he really that good? Was he really as good as we saw him earlier on in the season? He's been objectively trash. Objectively trash. Since he suffered that injury against the Pistons on January 15th. He's had this is only the second game the Knicks have played in the last 7 days. Only the second game. And you have seen Karl-Anthony Towns shoot 4 for 5 in his last 2 games. 2 for 3 against the Raptors and then 2 for 2 against the Celtics. What did he do? Is he going to be able to shoot at a high volume? That's what we need to see. Karl-Anthony Towns earlier on this season was shooting 4, 5, 6 threes a game. Shooting at one point 49% from 3. He has not been the same player. You can obviously see that there is a dip in confidence for a cat from 3 or from anywhere on the floor. Will that change tonight? In a must-win game against the Pacers on the road. And it remains to be seen. Knicks without OG Anunoby. I talked about it just a few minutes ago. It's an impactful loss because you're going to have to rely heavily on Precious Achiuwa in this game. Precious is going to play 35 to 40 minutes. Because who the hell are you going to match him up with on defense? Who are you going to match Pascal Siakam up with on the defensive side? If Karl-Anthony Towns can't defend him, he can't. Okay, Cat cannot guard Pascal Siakam to save his life. This is going to be a heavy, precious game in terms of minutes, and they're going to need it because OG out. Good decision, smart, very good. Keep him out until after the All-Star break. Amazing, no complaints. Of course, you need him in a game like this. Of course, it sucks that you don't have him. You want to know what would be worse? Losing him for the rest of the year because you played him when you shouldn't have. And he re-aggravated a foot injury. God forbid he breaks the foot. So there are people out there who might be clamoring for OG Anunoby to get back as soon as possible. The All-Star break is this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of time that OG is going to be able to stay out of and rest and take some time and relax and come back fully rested. I mean, OG did not miss a game before he went down with the foot injury. Not one game. Not one game. And he's going to come back after the All-Star break, and he's going to look like a different player. Because if you remember earlier on this year, OG Anunoby was probably the best player on the team. In the month of November, OG was shooting, 45% from 3? Was scoring 17, 18 points per game on extremely efficient shooting numbers. And then after that, he fell off a cliff. Played terribly in the month of December. was a little bit better in the month of January. And in February, he barely played because of the injury. Good. I mean, good. This is an injury. It sucks. It could have been 10 times worse. OG is getting his rest. Okay? Because if you think Tom Thibodeau would have sat him throughout any of that, if you think he would have given him a rest day, I have a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. All right? OG is going to get rest. Knicks, again, huge game. Huge game against the Pacers tonight. Keys to the game, stopping Pascal Siakam, limiting the three-pointer. What? How many more times do we have to watch the Knicks get burnt on defense from three? It's becoming like death taxes now. Death taxes, the Knicks getting smoked from deep. The key is going to be stopping Pascal Siakam in this game with OG out. Because OG, before he got injured in the Pacers series, was the Pascal stopper. He played almost every minute that Pascal Siakam was on the court. This is Precious Achiuwa's job now. Pascal Siakam, 22.8 points in February. He's amazing. I love his game. Can score inside and out. He's got the post-up game. He's a really solid player. You know what you're going to get from Tyrese Haliburton. He's a threat to have 15 assists and 25 points in any game. You're going to be able to put. Listen, this is the benefit of having Mikal Bridges now. Without Mikal Bridges, I mean, not only does he match up better than anyone else you had against quick guards, he matches up better against long guards. Tyrese Haliburton, one of the longest guards in the NBA. Mikal's going to have to do a good job on him tonight, because if not, the Knicks could lose this game. And again, as I mentioned, this is an absolute must-win game. Must win. So I didn't want to go too long here. Knicks game is starting in 3 minutes. That's BS also. I could go up until 7:43 when this game is inevitably going to start, but I'll stop now just so you have some time to throw on MSG, watch that pregame, because God knows you're going to be watching this game on TNT with Reggie Miller on the call. God. In Indiana against the Knicks. What the hell are they doing? They know what they're doing, actually. All right, but I'm Bryce Gelman. I talk Knicks. I talk Giants. Kill me. I talk Yankees now that they're coming back. Pitchers and catchers reporting. A lot of fun stuff coming up. Stay locked on my Twitter account. Stay locked, whatever the hell you want to call it. X, Twitter, YouTube as well. You know what? CBW says lay the 2.5 and take the Knicks. Yeah. I think the Knicks are going to come out strong in this game. That's my prediction. The Knicks win this game by 15 points. I've got faith in this team to come back out after one of the most bruises that we've ever seen the Knicks have, with the expectations, and come out and win this game. I say they respond to the adversity well. They win this game. That's my prediction. But let's see. Let's go Knicks, and I will talk to you all very soon.